Hello and welcome to 7 Minutes of Science, a new science show here from Mission Acceptable. The idea of this is pretty simple. I have 7 minutes to run through the 7 biggest news stories of the week in the world of science. If I fail to do it in 7 minutes, I have to do something horrible, which would be entertaining for you. I don't know what that is. What is it? We're doing this. The Cinnamon Challenge. Yay! That's really run its course. There's no need to do. Oh, I have. Yeah. Okay. And I should shut up and get on with. Yeah. Okay. Oh, fine. I'll do it. It's not a problem. Okay. Right. So starting from. Hopefully, if we worked out to get a clock on the screen, we may have a clock on the screen. If not, then you can all start a stopwatch now and see if I do this in 7 minutes. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Start. Okay, Monday. Big news on Monday is bad news for California. In addition to the continued existence and career of Michael Bay, it turns out that predictions of an unusually strong El Nino this year, which would have provided much needed relief to the drought that's currently going on in California, it hasn't happened. It just hasn't materialised. This is despite a lot of the early data sort of suggesting that El Nino was going to be particularly strong this year. And in fact, that data hasn't really changed. It still seems to be predicting this unusually strong El Nino, but it's just not arrived. No one's really sure why. The last time the El Nino patterns and predictions were similar to this was 97-98, which was an unusually strong year for El Nino, which did lead to an incredibly wet winter, which was great for California at the time. This year it's not happening despite the same conditions. It's very difficult to predict why, but maybe we've done something to the atmosphere in the last 16 years. That would be my suggestion. That's pretty much just a guess from me. There's no actual data to back that up. So, okay, next story, Tuesday. Look, when I decided to make this show, I genuinely thought it was going to be an uplifting, yay, science, isn't it great kind of thing. So I apologise that I've gone with drought and now I'm having to do this. Apparently, according to data that's recently been uncovered, we have managed to wipe out 50% of the animal life on this planet in the last 40 years. Yeah, it turns out that we were doing some new methodologies. Yay for new methodologies! Have revealed that the data that we've got we were kind of reading wrong. And yeah, we've reduced the population by about 50%, but not all. Not all populations gone down by 50%. When it comes to freshwater species, it's about 72%. And on one reserve in Ghana, we managed to reduce the lion population by 90%. This data is all available as part of the Living Planet report, which is produced in conjunction between the London Zoological Society or the Zoological Society of London. I don't know which one it is. And the WWF, not this WWF, the World Wildlife Fund. Yeah, I'm going to put a link down here so you can donate to the World Wildlife Fund. It might not help, but maybe it will. Jesus, I mean, I don't want to bring politics into this, but if that story doesn't make you an environmentalist, you're probably not rational enough to be into science. Wednesday, if the current Ebola crisis continues at the rate that it's going on, there will be roughly 1 million cases by January. Stick with me, guys. I promise that the story directly after this is not depressing. There's some kind of silver line to the story, which is it looks like people are actually taking this seriously. It is going to get stopped. The UN Security Council had their first ever meeting over a health issue, emergency meeting over a health issue. That's never happened before. The US has pledged 0.5 billion, which is the UN says $1 billion is needed to stop this. So that seems low, but the US has said they will go up to $1 billion. So that's pretty cool. But then on the other hand, Peter Piot, the head of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and one of the co-discoverers of Ebola, still can't work out whether you want that on your CV or not. He has said that this may become endemic, but it's also worth noting that a vaccine for this is going to start trials in the next week, so it's not all as terrible as it could be. And Thursday, finally a story that has no horrible and terrifying connotations for us as a species. A chap named Dave Samuel's team have discovered thousands of mountains that we didn't know about on Earth. Basically, two satellites have been scanning the bottom of the ocean. Satellites, see, we've got cool space stuff in this story, so it's a good one. That is Cryosat 2 and Jason 1. They have both been mapping, and it turns out these can detect mountains that are about 1.5 kilometers high as opposed to 2 kilometers high. That doesn't sound like much of a difference, but the lower the mountains are, the more of them there are. So there's about 25,000 new mountains that we discovered at the bottom of the ocean. That is pretty cool. It's never bad to know more about the ball of rock that you're on. But in addition to that, this bodes well for lots of other areas. We believe life started in the ocean, so this can help that kind of research into where did life come from. But also, similarly, the story that we just discussed from 2 stories ago about how all the animals are dead now. This is the kind of information we need in order to combat that kind of thing. So that's great. Friday, AIDS. Wait, don't go away. This isn't a really depressing story, I promise. This is just a science story. An international team of scientists have worked out that AIDS/HIV probably originated in Kinshasa in what is now the Democratic Republic of Congo in about the 1920s, even though it wasn't recognised till about 1981. Basically, that town was the perfect storm of conditions to create the disease, and the railways going through there and the vibrant sex trade. I shouldn't have used the word vibrant to describe sex trade right there. That's wrong. Anyway, led to it being ideal place to spread out across the rest of Africa, and finally to the dizzying heights of success it's reached today. It's a go-getter, AIDS. But this information has come to light as part of a genome project mapping the genetics of this disease, and by mapping those genetics we can work out treatments and ways to fight it. And that's kind of what the show is about, letting you know that science is out there doing amazing stuff, and that amazing stuff does benefit you, and now you know that it's benefiting you. You can like pass on that information and tell everyone that cool things are happening and they're not bad. Good things are happening in the world because of science. Okay, this is our sort of and finally section now, because as it turns out it's really hard to find good science stories on the weekend. It's almost as if scientists, having worked very hard to get degrees and where they are in life, don't want to work weekends. Lazy, but we'll let them have it. Firstly, print your own comet. Seriously. So the European Space Agency's Rosetta mission, and I'm going to have to read this, which aims to land a probe on the snappily named Comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko. I've probably pronounced that horribly wrong, and I'm sorry for mangling the names of two real scientists. They're going to land in early November. Now, firstly, I want to point out that the comet and the probe are currently spinning through space at about 464 million kilometres from Earth, which is just insane. And landing this thing, that's the technical term, on this comet is insane by even the standards of stuff we do in space. But they've released a 3D model. I'm going to provide a link to that. You can a 3D model of the comet, which you can use a 3D printer to print. You can print your own comet. That's cool. That's amazing. What a time to be alive. If you do that, comment, give us a picture. We'd love to see it. And finally, the second story, because I'm doing two, the Aquaman Crystal. You wait years for Aquaman to not be a joke, and then he gets Jason Momoa and something really cool in science in the same year. Meanwhile, Batman is Ben Affleck. Anyway, basically this new funky crystal they've found can absorb a hell of a lot of oxygen from its surroundings and then release it under a small amount of heat, even if those surroundings are water. So you can basically use this to draw in oxygen from water around you. Small amount of heat releases it. You could possibly conceivably get rid of the big diving tank, have a little mouth with breather with a little filter thing, screw that in, and it'd be much better. But also, if you're stuck with a giant gas tank for medical reasons, this could help you deal with that. Early days, hard to synthesize, don't know how viable it's going to be, but it's cool and it's interesting, and it's the coolest thing Aquaman will be involved in ever that isn't the Justice League. And stop at 6 minutes and 58 seconds since I hit the start. I will not be doing the Cinnamon Challenge this week. Thank you very much for joining us. If you like the video, then like the video, or share the video, or subscribe to the channel. Either of them, it's a small thing you can do, and it means a lot to us here. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck in your endeavours. If your endeavours be good. Goodbye.